In this video, we will be going over the Applying Systems of Equations test review. As we go through this video, we will be grouping two problems together at a time, since the first problem deals with writing the system of equations and the second problem deals with actually solving the system. So, number one, a gym charges $60 per month and $3 per exercise class. Another gym charges $30 per month and $8 per exercise class. After how many classes will the monthly cost be the same, and what will that cost be? Determine which equation would be used to solve this problem. So we need to start by setting up our problem. Both of these are y equals problems because these are dealing with an initial value and a rate of change. So our first gym here, we have it's $60 per month and $3 per class. So that would be y equals 3x for each class plus the $60 monthly fee. Our next gym is $30 per month, but $8 per class. So that would be y equals 8x plus 30. So then we want to go through our answers and see which one of those matches. And again, they don't have to be in the exact same order, but this one is, so it would be C. So then we move on to question number 2, which is going ahead and solving the system of equations and figuring out how many classes will it take for the monthly cost to be the same and what that cost is going to be. So we do that by setting these two equations equal to each other since they're both y equals. So we have 3x plus 60 equals 8x plus 30. We need to get our x's to the same side of the equal sign. And so I would move my 3x here. That way I'm not dealing with a lot of negatives. So the opposite of positive 3x would be a negative 3x on both sides. That's going to leave me with 60 equals 8 minus 3 would be 5, keep your x, plus 30. Now I need to get all of my constants to the other side of the equal sign. So I'm going to move this 30 over across the equal sign. I do that by using an inverse operation. For the opposite, subtract 30 on both sides. That's going to leave me with the 5x, and 60 minus 30 is going to be 30. Divide both sides by 5, and so your x is 6. So the x represents the per class. So that lets me know I've got 6 classes, but I've got to figure out the expense. So you're going to take and plug your 6 back into one of your equations. So if I had y equals 3, plug in the 6 for the x. Let's see, it's plus 60. 3 times 6 is going to be 18, and 18 plus 60 would be 78. So they're going to be the same when you have 6 classes at a total cost of $78. So that would be B. Number 3, one number is 16 more than another number. The two numbers have a sum of 120. Which system of equations could be used to find the two numbers? So x is going to be representing one number, or the first number. And y is going to represent my second number. So it says one number is 16 more than the other number. So one number is 16 more than means addition. So that could be x plus 16, and that's going to equal what my y would be. So y equals x plus 16. The two numbers have a sum of 120. Sum is addition. So the x plus the y equals 120. So let's see if we have an equation down here that looks like this. Remember, the variables could be swapped. It doesn't necessarily have to be the x and the y the way I have them. So when I come through here, this one has multiplication in it, so we know that's not a possibility. Let's see, here's our answer right here for B. This one had division, so you could eliminate that one. And again, this one here is multiplying your two variables. So you should have been able to eliminate to get to the right answer. Number 4, you're actually solving your system to figure out what those two numbers are. Since you do have a y equals, you are going to be able to substitute that into this second equation. So we're going to keep our x plus, in place of the y equals, we're going to substitute the x plus 16 equals 120. So then when I get ready to do that, I'm going to combine my variables. So x plus x would be 2x plus 16 equals 120. I need to subtract 16 on both sides. Those will cancel, leaving me with a 2x equals 104. And then my final step to figure out what the x is going to be to divide by 2. And then that gives me the fact that x is 52. To figure out what the y would equal, well, you would just take that and plug it into one of the equations. So y equals x plus 16 is your easiest equation to plug into. And so we're going to plug our 52 in for the x plus our 16. And so y would equal 68. So you're looking for the numbers 52 and 68. And that would be D. At the movies, a couple bought 2 medium drinks and a large popcorn for $13.85. At the same theater, a family bought 3 medium drinks and 2 large popcorns for a total of $23.90. Which system are we going to use to find the cost of the medium drink and large popcorn? So let's look at what we have. We've got 2 medium drinks and a large popcorn. So let's make our X represent our drinks. And we know that's going to be a medium drink. And our Y is our large popcorn. Sorry. Okay. All right. So we have 2 medium drinks, so that would be 2X plus a large popcorn, which would just be Y. And 4 means equals 13.85. At the same time, a family bought 3 medium drinks, so the drinks are represented by X, so that'd be 3X, and 2 large popcorns, so 2Y, for a total of $23.90. So then we're going to look down through here and find our answer that matches. And we should have gotten a C on that one. Now, number 6, you actually have to solve your system of equations. So when we get ready to do that, we need to get a variable isolated. And so your easiest one to focus with here is to isolate the y in the first equation. So in order to do that, we would subtract 2x on both sides of the equal sign. So this new equation that we can substitute with will be y equals negative 2x plus 13.85. So that's the equation we're going to use for substitution. So when we get ready to do this one, we are going to plug in, let's see, we're going to keep our 3x plus 2, substitute in for the y, the negative 2x plus 13.85, and that's going to equal 23.90. You do have to do your distributive property. So that's going to be, we're going to keep our 3x, distribute. So that'll be a negative 4x and plus 2770 or 27.7 equals 23.90. We're going to combine like terms, and that's going to leave me a negative x plus 27.7 equals 23.90. I need to move the 27 to the other side of the equal sign, so I'm going to subtract 27.7 from both sides. These would cancel, leaving me with a negative x equals negative 3.8. You can't leave a negative x, so we're going to divide by negative 1, and x would be 3.8, which is the same as $3.80 since we're dealing with money. So x represents our medium drink. So that lets me know this medium drink up here was $3.80. So at this point, you could go through and figure out which one of your answers was correct. It looks like our answer is going to be A, but we want to be 100% sure. So you'd want to take your answer and substitute it into the other equation and make sure you know what y is going to equal. So we're going to do that real quick. We're going to do 2 times the 3.8 plus y equals 13.85. Oh, I wrote that wrong. So that's going to give me 7.6 here plus y equals 13.85. And then we would subtract 7.6 on both sides. And that's going to give me 625. So we do know we have the correct answer. Always double check your answers to make sure that you have not made a mathematical error somewhere along the way. Number 7, baseball fans can buy $7 tickets to sit in the lawn section or $16 for stadium seats. Ticket sales at last night's game totaled $6,920. The number of stadium tickets sold was 20 more than 3 times the number of lawn tickets. So which system would you use to determine how many tickets of each type are going to be sold? So let's label our variables. So we're going to let X is going to represent the lawn tickets. I'm just going to put lawn. And Y is going to be the stadium seats. So our lawn tickets are $7, so 7X. Our stadium tickets are 16, so 16Y. And that equals the total amount of money that they collected, which was $6,920. So the next statement says that the number of stadium tickets sold was more than 3 times the number of lawn tickets. So the stadium tickets would be Y equals 3 times more than, so 3 times is 3 multiplication. So 3X plus 20. Okay, let's see if we can find our answer. Again, the answer may be in a different order than what you have come up with. So our answer here is going to be B. So then number 8, you are actually solving that system of equations. So we are going to take and multiply, or substitute, sorry. We're going to keep our 7X plus our 16. We're going to substitute in our 3X plus 20. And then keep the final answer. You do want to do your distributive property. Okay, so you're going to keep your 7X. We're going to have to do 16 times 3. So we're going to have 7X plus 48X plus 320 equals 6,920. We want to combine like terms here. And that's going to give me 55X plus 320 equals 6,920. And I know we're going to have to kind of cross over these word problems. I apologize, but that's the only way you can get it on here. So we're going to need to subtract 320 on both sides, so minus 320. That will let these cancel. It's going to leave me with 55X equals 6,600. And then your final step is to divide by 55. And your answer for the X is 120. Remember, X represents your your lawn seats. So the lawn seats here is 120. So at this point, you could go through your answers and see if you found your lawn seats at 120. And so we have D as that answer. You want to double check yourself by plugging those in and testing that. So we're going to substitute back into our second equation. We have our y equals 3 instead of x. We're going to plug in our 120 and plus 20. So 3 times 120 is 360 plus 20. And then when those are added together, that equals 380 for my y, which does match my answer. Number 9, two angles are supplementary. The larger angle is 15 more than 10 times the smaller angle. Which set of equations will you use to find the measure of each angle? So you have to remember that supplementary angles equal 180 degrees. So we're going to let our x represent the smaller angles, so small angle, and I'm just going to do an angle sign. And y is going to be the larger angle. So we know the two angles are supplementary, which means they're 180 degrees added together. So we can have x plus y equals 180. Our second sentence says the larger angle is, so that would be y equals 15 more than, so more than is addition, 10 times, which is multiplication, the smaller angle. So that'd be y equals 10x plus 15. Oops, I forgot my plus sign. Or you could have 15 plus 10x. So let's look and see if we can find our answer. So that's not going to be it. Got number 10, or number 9 would be D. So then number 10, we actually have to solve and figure out what our two angle measurements are. So in our system, we have a y equals, which makes it very easy to substitute. So we're going to keep our first equation, x plus, in place of the y, I'm going to substitute the 10x plus 15, and then keep the rest of my equation of equals 180. X plus 10x is going to be 11x plus 15 equals 180. Now that you're at this point, you are going to need to subtract 15 from both sides. So let's see, minus 15, minus 15. That's going to leave me with 11x equals 165. And then we need to divide both sides by 11. And x will be 15. Then in order to get our y value, we need to substitute our 15 into the other equation. So we would have y equals 10, instead of the x, we're going to have 15. Let's see, plus 15. So 10 times 15 is 150. And 150 plus 15 is going to be 165. So then that makes our answer C. Number 11, John is considering two different companies for textbook rentals. Company A charges a one-time fee of $20 and a rental fee of $15 per month. Company B charges $20 per month with no other fees. How many months would he have to rent from the two companies to cost him the same price? What would that cost be? Which system would be used to solve this problem? So if we think about Company A, Company A's equation would be y equals, he's paying 15 per month, so that's 15x with a $20 fee. Company B would be y equals, his is just a $20 fee per month, so that's just 20x. So let's see if we can find our answer. And it looks like A would be our correct answer on 11. And so then 12 is the exact same problem, except now we're having to solve that system of equations. So since these are both set up with y equals, we're just going to put these two pieces equal to one another. So that means we would have 20x equals our 15x plus 20. So we need to get our x's to the same side of the equal sign. So I'm going to move my 15x to the other side, so that'd be a minus 15x to both sides of the equal sign. Those would cancel, leaving me with 5x equals 20. And then I would divide both sides by 5. So x would be 4. So I want to take the 4 and substitute it back into one of my equations. I'm going to choose the equation of y equals 20x. So that'd be 20 times 4. So y equals 20 times 4 would be 80. So what that means is it's going to take him 4 months at a cost of $80 for them to be equal for these two companies. So your answer would be B. Number 13, Janie put 200 inches of ribbon around the border of a rectangular bulletin board. If the length of the bulletin board is 4 times the width, which system of equations would you use to find the dimensions? So you got to think you're going around the bulletin board. That's the outside, so that is perimeter. So you're either adding all your sides or you're doing 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So just keep that in mind as you're going to start in this problem. So we're going to make x represent the width. Sorry. And y is going to be my length. So we know that all of the ribbon together equals 200 inches. So I would have 2 times my width, which is 2x, plus 2 times my length, which would be 2y, equals 200. Then it says that my length is 4 times the width. 4 times is multiplication. So my length is the y equals 4x. So then you want to find the answer that matches your equation that we just created, and that would be letter D. So then 14 is where we're actually solving the system. So since we have a y equals, it's an easy system to solve by plugging in and substitution. So we have 2x plus 2. In place of that y, we're going to plug in the 4x equals 200. Distribute here. 2 times 4x is 8x, so we have 2x plus 8x equals 200. Combine your like terms. 2 plus 8 would be 10. Keep the x. And then to get the x by itself, we want to divide both sides by 10. And so x would be, let's see, 20. Okay. Now we need to find out what y is. So the width is the x. That's going to be my 20. So to figure out my length, I'm going to use the y equals 4x equation. So y equals 4, and in place of the x, we're going to put in the 20. And then 4 times 20 is 80, which would be my length of 80. So I need to find one that says my length is 80 and my width is 20. So that would be B. Number 15. The larger of two numbers is 10 more than 3 times the smaller number. The larger number decreased by the smaller number is 80. Which system of equations would be used to find the two numbers? So we're going to let x be our smaller number and y the larger number. So it says the larger of the two numbers, so that would be the y equals, the larger of the two numbers is 10 more than is addition, 3 times the smaller number. So 3 times the smaller number would be 3x, and we would have 10 more than, so that's plus 10. Then it says the larger number decreased by the smaller number is 80. So the larger number minus the smaller number, decreased by would be subtraction, equals 80. So then we need to find our answer, and that would be letter B. Number 16, you are solving this system of equations to find those two numbers. So again, we have a y equals, so that lets us have an easy way to solve this system. So y equals 3x plus 10 is going to be substituted into our equation. So 3x plus 10, and then minus y equals 80. We're going to combine our like terms, so that's going to be 2x plus 10 equals 80. Subtract 10 on both sides. So 2x equals 70. And then we need to take and divide our 70 by 2, both sides by 2, and x would be 35. Then to find our other number, we want to take the 35 and plug it into the equation and solve it. So we have y equals 3 times 35 plus 10. 3 times 35 is 105 plus the 10. So that would be 115 for the y. So then our answer for this one would have to be D. Number 17. There are 13 animals in the barn. Some are chickens and some are pigs. There are 40 legs in all. How many of each animal are there? Which system of equations would you use to solve the problem? The thing you need to think about is how many legs does a chicken have? That would be 2. How many legs will a pig have? That's going to be 4. So that's going to be important for you to know. So X, we're going to make the chickens, and Y will be the number of pigs. So there is a total of 13 animals in the barn. So that means X plus Y, chickens plus pigs, equals a total of 13. Now their legs are the next thing we're adding up. So chickens have 2 legs, so that's 2x. Pigs have 4, so that's 4y, equals a total of 40 legs. So then you want to go through your multiple choice answers and find the one that matches. And C is your correct answer. Remember, it doesn't have to be in the exact same order as long as it matches your equation. So number 18, you are trying to solve this system of equations. And in order to do that, you need to get one of the variables by itself. You need to isolate that variable. So I'm going to do this by subtracting x on both sides for this one. And so that's going to make this be y equals negative x plus 13. So now I'm able to substitute with that. So we have our 2x plus 4 in parentheses. We're going to plug in the negative x plus 13. And that would equal 40. You want to do your multiplication. You got to distribute to do that multiplication there. So 2x plus, I'm sorry, that's not going to be a plus, because 4 times negative x is negative 4x. And then 4 times 13, 52, equals 40. You want to combine your like terms. 2 minus 4 is a negative 2x plus 52 equals 40. Then we need to get the 52 to the other side of the equal sign by subtracting 52 on both sides. Negative 2x equals negative 12. And then finally we divide by negative 2 on both sides. So x equals 6. So remember, that is, x represents the chickens, so that's going to be 6 chickens. Then to figure out my pigs, we're going to substitute our number into one of the equations. So I'm going to plug into the first equation, x plus y equals 13. If x is 6 plus y equals 13, subtract 6 on both sides, y is going to be 7. So that leaves me as my answer being chickens. Yep, should be A. You have to be really, really careful because these numbers look the same too when you just glance at them, but this says 7 chickens, letter B, and 6 pigs. So you got to make sure you're reading and you've labeled your variables. Very important. Number 19. Carrie spent $131 on shirts. The fancy shirts cost $28 and the plain shirts cost $15. She bought a total of 7 shirts. How many of each kind of shirt did she buy? And which system are we going to use? So we need to let the X is going to be fancy shirts, since that one was mentioned first. And Y is going to be my plain shirts. So we're looking first at the fact she spent $131. So we want to take our money and add that up so that it equals the 131. So that would be $28 for the fancy shirts, which is the X, plus 15 for the plain shirts, which will be your Y, equals 131. Then you have a total of 7 shirts, so the two types of shirts together add up to equal 7. So X plus Y equals 7. So then when you look for your equation, you should have chosen D. Then 20, you're actually solving that system. And so in order to do that, you need to get a variable isolated. So I would subtract X on both sides of this bottom one. And the reason I would be doing that is we already know how to put things in slope-intercept form, so this is the easiest one to transform. Once you do that, you are ready to substitute. So I have my equation of 28x plus 15. In place of that y, I'm going to substitute in negative x plus 7 equals 131. Do your distributive property here. So that's going to give me 28x minus 15x plus 105 equals 131. At that point, you want to combine your like terms. So 28 minus 15 would give me 13x plus 105, bring down what we did not use, equals 131. We need to move the 105 to the other side, so we're going to subtract 105 from both sides of the equal sign, leaving me with 13x equals 26. And then finally, we're going to divide both sides by 13. And so that will let me know that x equals 2. So x is your fancy shirt, so that's 2. Then take your answer and substitute it back into the other equation. So we had our x plus y equals 7. X is 2. 2 plus y equals 7. Subtract 2 on both sides, so y would be 5. So that means your plain shirts are 5. Make sure you're reading your totals here, your answers. 2 fancy shirts, 5 plain shirts. So your answer should be C. Be cautious and don't mix up with B since we just switched the numbers.